Yes, fear inventory that we're going to finish
Should I
here
write
is.
fear inventory?
Mm-hmm. Fear. So we finished resentment inventory. I use that in my 10th step now and to find where amends may be. Um, the inventory was ours, not the other man's. When we saw our faults, we listed them. We placed them before us in black and white. And it's important to write that, as then I can see patterns in my own lifestyle and challenges and hopefully rectify them before too long. We admitted our wrongs and honestly were willing to set these matters straight. So that's referencing amends. Fear inventory begins the last paragraph here. It says, notice the word fear is bracketed alongside the difficulties with Mrs. Brown, Mrs. Jones, Mr. Brown, the employer, and the wife. This short word somehow touches about every aspect of our lives. And it does for me, fear and anxiety. That's where the key is. It was an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence was shot through with it. And there'll be 3 columns in the fear inventory on the next page. It set in motion trains of circumstance which brought us misfortune we felt we didn't deserve. But did not we? Set the ball rolling. Sometimes we think fear ought to be classed with stealing. It seems to cause more trouble. And now the 3 columns in fear are right here. We reviewed our fears thoroughly. And the first part is we put them on paper. Pretty easy. I'm afraid of student loans. I'm afraid of success or failure, even though we had no resentment in connection with them. So that's why it's separate from the resentment inventory. There's fear. The second part is we asked ourselves why we had them. Wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? I'm trying to control everything. It's not working. I'm afraid I won't be able to control it, so I'm terrified of it. So that's part 2. It's always the same. It's how did self-reliance fail me? It's the second part of the fear. So I'm afraid of whatever it might be, student loans, payback. The fear is self-reliance failed me. I can't control $250,000 immediately paid back. This is going to become a higher power thing. So then the next part is rather long, and it goes all the way down the page. Self-reliance was good as far as it went, but it didn't go far enough. Some of us once had great self-confidence, but it didn't fully solve the fear problem. Any other. When it made us cocky, it was worse. So, third column goes these next 2 paragraphs here. Perhaps there is a better way. We think so, for we are now on a different basis. The basis of trusting and relying upon God. We trust infinite God rather than our finite selves. So what does this look like? We are in the world to play the role he assigns, just to the extent that we do as we think he would have us. And this is the promise. Humbly rely upon him. Does he enable us to match calamity with serenity? So again, going back to student loans, the fear, not being able to pay back all $250,000 tomorrow, I'm going to have to trust my higher power on this one. And lucky there is income-based repayment plans and public service student loan forgiveness. We never apologize for anyone depending upon our Creator. We can laugh at those who think spirituality is the way of weakness. Paradoxically, it is the way of strength. The verdict of ages is that faith means courage. All men of faith have courage. They trust their God. We never apologize for God. Instead, we let him demonstrate through us what he can do. We ask him, this is the fear prayer and the end of the third part. And at least I've listed what I'm afraid of, so I know what it is. I don't have to stay in the unknown. Final part is we ask him to remove our fear and direct our attention to what he would have us be. At once, we commence to outgrow fear, and that's a promise, especially on payback. Student loans, I found the income-based repayment plan and the public service student loan forgiveness, and it's slightly gone away, but I still trust in a higher power to take care of that. Now about sex. The sex inventory has 9 questions, and we'll go over it the next 2 pages. Many of us needed an overhauling there, but above all, we tried to be sensible on this question. It's so easy to get way off track. Here we find human opinions running to extremes, absurd extremes perhaps. One set of voices cry that sex is a lust of our lower nature, a base necessity of procreation. Then we have the voices who cry for sex and more sex, who bewail the institution of marriage, who think that most of the troubles of the race are traceable to sex causes. They think we do not have enough of it. So he's just showing all the opinions on it. It doesn't matter. The opinions don't matter. Or that it isn't the right kind. They see its significance everywhere. One school would allow man no flavor for his fare, and the other would have us all on a straight pepper diet. We want to stay out of this controversy. We do not want to be the arbiter of anyone's sex conduct, and that's underlined because that's essential. It's not my job. Arbiter is a person subjected to judge. That's not what we're here for. We all have sex problems. We'd hardly be human if we didn't. What can we do about them? 9 questions here. We reviewed our conduct over the past years, or years past. The first question is, where have we been selfish? And this can run in 3s. Where have we been selfish, dishonest, or inconsiderate? Those are the first 3. Whom had we hurt? This is the 4th. Did we unjustifiably arouse? This could go in 3s again. Jealousy, suspicion, or bitterness. So did we unjustifiably arouse jealousy? Or do we unjustifiably arouse 6 is suspicion? Or 7, do we unjustifiably arouse bitterness? Maybe retaliating, calling them a B, you're an F and B. And then where were we at fault? And those are 8 of the 9. 9 will direct you where your amends could come from. What should we have done instead? We got this all down on paper and looked at it. So the 9 fear questions are here, or I'm sorry, 9 sex questions, maybe related to fear, but the sex questions, or in a relationship with people. Some people do this for all their relationships because it's a relationship inventory. In this way, we tried to shape a sane and sound ideal for our future sex life. We subjected each relation to the test. Was it selfish or not? And that's also the beginning of the prayer. We asked God to mold our ideals and help us to live up to them. We remembered always that our sex powers were God-given and therefore good, neither to be used lightly or selfishly, nor to be despised or loathed. Whatever our ideal turns out to be, we must be willing to grow toward it. We must be willing to make amends where we had done harm, provided that we do not bring about still more harm in doing so. Be specific, like if we have an amends, be specific in what we would do differently. In other words, we treat sex as we would any other problem. In meditation, we ask God what we should do about each specific matter. Like if we do an amends, or are we going back to make the amends so I can get back together with the person? That's good to talk about with our sponsor. The right answer will come if we want it. God alone can judge our sex situation. Counsel, and that would be your sponsor. It doesn't call it your sponsor. This ends here.